Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call me in. There's no additions or deletions from our agenda. With that, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for April 23rd, 2024.
I'll second that. Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I handed around the special claims. Meetings attended, please, Sean.
Oh, this week was the definition of torture, so. Last Thursday, I think, had early childhood development meeting from 4 to 7. And it was the year-end one where we go over all the contracts with all the daycares and basically setting up their budget for the coming year. They're over budget by about 40,000, so they've chosen to, I think, suspend the daycare's funding. There's only 2, so they're going to suspend those. One of them was having some problems in Mount Pleasant anyway, and they took their contract away mid-year, so they're suspended it. And then there was a large discussion on there's funding, and Cindy could probably explain it a little better when she comes in here, but they go out and they go to the homes and they check on the kids, and they're supposed to be making a certain amount of calls or stops, contacts, if that's how you want to perceive it. And it's all set up by the people that are doing it, and they're telling them how many contacts they're supposed to have and how much funding they're going to get. And apparently they're not meeting their criteria. They're undershooting by a substantial amount. So there was a lot of discussion on funding them per visit and going more to a incentive based that way, because really they're only doing about 50% or 40% of what they said they were going to do, and they're still getting the full funding. So we kind of talked about that in great length, and we didn't formally vote on it, but I think that's probably the direction that that's going to go. So that was an interesting meeting. Yesterday, I went to Nevada, Iowa for the day and sat in on the emergency services tax that Story County had pulled together. There was 50 in the room, probably another 20 or so on Zoom. The room was packed, and it varied. Lots of counties, lots of ambulance companies. There was only a couple of supervisors, including myself there, which I was surprised with. But a lot of them, they're anywhere from one county had it instituted for 5 years, all the way down to some that are trying to figure out their verbiage to go and how to get the vote on the ballot. And I think we were probably the county that was the shortest time one there that had just passed the vote. But so we spent a lot of time on the verbiage part of it for those groups that are trying to get the vote through. And then the other half we kind of spent on how the funding works. Every county's just a little bit different. There's some counties that have 10 or 12 different ambulance services, and how they figure all that out, I have no idea.
I don't know how they keep by.
I don't either. But there's a lot of them that are for profit and there's some that are nonprofit and there's a lot of volunteer stuff and it's just this big mess. I thought we had it rough, but not nearly as bad. The one big thing that they continually said over and over and over and over, they had to reiterate this at least 20 times throughout the day, was do not run off your volunteers. That was the lifeblood of every ambulance service, and that's what made the difference between being profitable or closing the doors. And do listen to your volunteers and make them feel like they're contributing and they're an important cog to the wheel. And we couldn't agree more. So
Yeah, they are the most important cause.
so when we got down to the funding part of it, which is where I felt the meat and potatoes were for us anyway. They also talked about the advisory board and how that needed to be put together because we had to work on that. They kind of acted like most of the people on the board need to be in the medical type field because they understand the verbiage and what you're using and Lucas devices and all that. But they also said that they wanted to see some citizens on there and that once you've taught the citizens what that equipment is and does and what it costs, they were one of their biggest supporters. So I'll have a list together of what they recommend to be on the advisory board, and then we can talk about it at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
They also advised highly to get people on the board that get along. That was one of their biggest problems they had is they get some people together in the room that had the qualifications but wouldn't get along. They spent the whole meeting doing nothing but argue. So that was important. To get back to the funding part of it, again, each one of them did something a little different. One county would take the square miles of their county and kind of put up boundaries and say, okay, so the total funding is $500,000 and your company has 500 square miles, so you get this amount of funding. That may have worked for them. I'm reluctant to do that in our county because then you get this us against them stuff and you get this boundary in place and people are fighting for feedage because that's related to funding, and we kind of had that in the past, and I really don't want to go back to that, really. A lot of the counties had what they call the flight car, which is what Wapello has. They put a paramedic in a vehicle and they go to the scene. I was shocked how many counties actually have that, and they said that was one of their biggest tools that they had was being able to get a paramedic on scene quickly. So that was a good thing. They did mention that they handled the flight cars a little different. They funded those independently because they helped everybody. It wasn't just a ambulance service. It was a flight car that helped the entire county. Some of them had 2 or 3 of them. ALS service, which is advanced life support services. Some ambulance services didn't have that. They just had basic. And so they handled those a little differently than they did the ALS services. Yeah, there was a lot of information there. I took a lot of notes, and I'm going to try to compile it down to something manageable that we can read and discuss. So expect that at the next supervisors meeting. And then I guess the biggest thing would be probably for us is to get the board put together, and then I can present information to the board, and then they can decide on funding choices. I guess might be the best route for that.
We're bringing
And
recommendations
then back to the supervisors. Yeah, I think that's how that needs to be handled. So anyway, big couple of meetings. So A lot of information.
Anything else, Sean?
No, that's it.
Telephone conference with Russ, and we hired a new employee to cover Jefferson County, where the one I've been covering, Henry and Jefferson. That's really all I had.
I had a community action at Burlington. A lot of things going on. I got that daycare just about ready to, some delays and stuff coming in, but getting ready to open up. Mount Pleasant. Out there at the transfer station, we're pouring the back wall. Started yesterday, I was out there pretty much all day, off and on, but the wall has a gaping hole if you already remember in the back, and so
Huge.
we're filling it in this morning. We got 4 foot at a time. We're gonna do, it's gonna be 30 inches when we get done, so.
Are you just pouring it in front of the other one?
Poured it in front of it, and then we're filling the void with concrete.
That'd be thick enough.
And then
Maybe they
rebar.
won't beat it to get pieces.
Rebar on the other one, the first pour was every 6 feet. And it was threaded rod instead of rebar. And with this one here, we're doing every 10 inches rebar.
That'd work. That'd be better.
Bigger rebar, so. So we'll be working on it the rest of the week. I'll go out there after I get done here and keep it going, so. Several calls. Things we're working on, but other than that. So, public input.
Anybody else attend that with you from any of the other?
Mike Delzo and I went together.
I know Junction talked about maybe sending somebody. I didn't know when the ambulance service had sent anybody.
Nobody in that room that I recognize.
It'd been nice for all of them to hear.
I would agree with that. It was a lot of information there. That was, we could have talked another 4 or 5 hours probably. But
Does any of them have any tax like we have?
yeah, a lot of the tax that went through are a lot higher than what we had. I think ours is 57.
59,
Or- I can't remember, 57, 59.
I was thinking it's 57.
Well, they're 80 cents, $1. I mean, it's considerably higher, but what a lot of them did was, it was on their ballot, and I think it's on ours too. It's got the percent but not to exceed number. And a lot of them will use what they need, but they won't go up to that 59 cents, because you can go down, but you can't go up. So they may use, for instance, if they approved 80 cents and it was $750,000, they may only be using 45 cents of it. And then able to bump it up if they have to, if they'll put in a 10 or 15 year clause, and if it exceed that, they got to go back to the voters. So some of them put in it was based on income tax. Ours is property tax, but they did theirs based on income tax. So everybody handled a little differently, but it was all headed in the same general direction. So.
Well, we need it.
Sean, I commend you for going.
Well, it's, thank
And
you.
also, I think that's responsible government. If they tax at one level and don't use it
I
all,
agree.
that makes sense.
I agree.
And maybe tax it at that level and then take some of it that they haven't
Yep.
used and put it
Put
in
in a
some
little
other fund. That it's
for-
not intended to be
for,
put into.
To build up for an ambulance or
Yeah.
some big equipment purchases.
Put it on a bridge or
Yeah.
something like that. you
Yeah.
know, Payroll or.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that bridge talk back there, so that's pretty good.
Well,
You like that idea?
Yeah.
You like it.
Anything else?
Got a question. When's the meeting coming up for the public comment, the second meeting on the tax hike?
The second meeting to the,
For the tax, there's supposed to be 2 public meetings for the increase in the property tax.
technically 3, I think.
Would that be through the assessor? I don't know.
we'll find out.
I just want to give a little input there. I don't think it's right to have those meetings at 8:30 on a Monday morning. A lot of business people are starting to get their employees involved and Mondays are notorious for Mondays.
Yeah.
That meeting ought to be at 7 o'clock at night. Or 2, 1 in the morning, 1 at night for people that work swing shift in the town.
No, I agree. No problem with that. And we did have a few night meetings early on and probably 17, 18, and we just wasn't getting that. We got more people coming now than we ever have. And that's good. That's what we want. We want people to come in there, but now I'd be willing to try whatever to get more people involved. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and open 8:45.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. For the Louisa County ordinance. 110-11-4.
I'll second that.
Okay. Public hearing is now open.
While we're waiting for public, I'll make a motion to pass the fireworks permit for Denise McCully. For July 5th.
July 5th, okay.
Can I see the permit, please? Thank you.
The dates are April 1st and April 23rd. For the tax.
And answer that. April 1st, April 23rd.
It was when?
April 1st and April 23rd, correct?
Mhm.
Okay,
So Chris, you didn't tell, you were honest with me then. You were going to call me before the second meeting.
A lot goes on in the week, now, and I forgot you. I apologize.
we got a motion on the floor. You second it?
I'll second that motion.
Any more discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Both were published in the paper.
Thank you. So I had fireworks. You guys see the payroll changes?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm starting to go through them here.
a lot of them were. Summer help.
Conservation, yeah, looks like conservation help. 2 of them anyway. Other ones look like they were just
Longevity.
longevity,
What's the one?
and then a change in director pay, so. Yeah, no, you can have all of it. We don't care about those.
Thank you. Everything we do. We got a health application.
Got it, Board of Health, looks like we have an application, yes. I don't particularly know them, know her,
No, got some good references
yeah.
and pretty good.
There's a lot of health,
20 years as a nurse.
is that an appointed position?
Yes,
By us?
by us.
Leah emailed that to me and
Okay,
the gal got a hold of Leah and Leah was.
okay,
Mhm.
okay, because I haven't talked to them and it looks like Lynn Meinster's on the references and I haven't talked to Lynn, so this is the first I've kind of heard about it, so. Want to make sure that everybody's on board.
Some of them, very, not everybody.
Yeah, Leah's good.
Yeah, she's doing a great job and Leah's happy. I'm okay with it.
You wanna do?
I'll make a motion to approve Jamie Storm. Is that her name?
Mhm.
To the Public Board of Health.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? She's filling an existing term, correct? Correct.
Joe, the Joe's?
Joe's.
Joe's spot, yeah.
And that would be to one.
That would be. This one.
Thought it was up this year, wasn't it?
No, I think it's, yeah, what's the end of the year? December 31st of next year.
Okay, so. Okay, so she just telling to the end.
Yep, and then if she wants to renew it, then she can. Good question, because I never looked. I don't know, I thought Joe was good. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got, I don't know if Brian, is he coming down? Could be here on this sealed bids things or not. You know?
I didn't say.
Towards the end of the agenda, you want to. There's just one, it's not. It's like, you know, that one, but the vote, I didn't get anything for the squad. And I see anyway, that's all we receive. We'll see if it's gonna come down, if you don't come down. We'll do it. Here's one bid. Okay, Brian, you wanna go ahead and explain a little bit on that ordinance? And I'll see if you got any questions.
Hopefully, I have a whole lot to explain on it. It's just something that the Muscatine Airport wanted us to do. A very small portion of Louisa County. But there's a couple of
Copy of this. You guys do? Anybody else?
Okay.
You got one, anybody else?
Yeah, that's good.
Nope, I'm good.
One of us is the safety concerns, the planes coming in and out, they don't want, for their funding, and they don't want to call towers right there, just on that lot.
Like windmills?
Yeah.
I don't either.
No. So Muscatine County sent a order like this that they wanted us to ask for an ordinance, and Michael Vance is actually the one that has a plane, so he knows all about this, so he revamped it to where it made it smaller and easier for us to adopt it into our zoning ordinance.
Well, as a private pilot, I appreciate it as well, because there's some towers out there that. You're putting along at a couple of thousand feet. Some of these towers are over 3,000 feet. There's one over by Galesburg. I'm just, huh?
There are 3,000.
Oh, yeah. Over by Galesburg, there's one. I'm putting along. The tower's taller than
Other
ours.
television.
I don't know what tower it is, but it's up there. It's crazy high.
And there's that, the High Line goes over up that way too, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's not nearly as high.
Most cell towers are no more than 300 feet.
There's a pretty good one over by Grandview, actually.
Well, Townsley's got one at his place. He's got a TV
Pretty good
tower at his place. Townsley's, but that's.
I can appreciate what they're trying to accomplish here, because that's. You're just out for a sightseeing day like I do and wanting to, I mean, you can't see anything at 5,000 feet.
Air care goes over my place regularly, and there's a tower right there, and I.
Yeah.
Hope they see it every.
Well, they've got enough instrumentation within their aircraft that it'll alert you if, and I have some of that too, but if it's not up to date. And you're not knowing where you're going, it could create a.
They just put one up over at Columbus Junction, Columbus City. So,
How many square areas that around top of Isley Hill? What are they talking? They're talking two lots. What's the criteria on that for the zone where they can build anything? Is they got it laid out for any landmarks?
Not that I'm aware of. I'd have to look at the comprehensive plan and see what they put down on there.
Well, I just wonder how far it exceeds from, Louisa County, below the old Burlington Road, down below the bluff. I wonder how far it comes back.
Well, this is actually down inside the bluff.
Yeah.
honestly.
Okay, you
This
got a picture I don't
This
have.
is the bluff,
I don't have it.
Isley Hill.
Yeah, I don't have
yeah, the
it.
bluff's right here, so it's. What the biggest one is shooting out here towards Muscatine.
Yeah,
That's what the big cone of it is that direction, but
so really, it don't go.
no, our county line's right here.
Yeah,
So
so
it's just because we're right there, it really doesn't affect us that much.
It's just part of an arc from
Yeah.
Isley Hill to power plant.
Yeah,
Has anybody seen that map?
But it's also going pretty Illinois, it's going down that river.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's going down.
There's federal counties that. Has something to do with their funding too, it's a little deal that really good.
Yeah, so. Reason I was asking, because there's a communication tower, internet tower, just down from that, but it's not into this zone here. Yeah, I didn't see this one.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
This picture actually connects. It's like that, so that you can get Muscatine in there. So,
Makes sense?
yeah.
Okay, any other input?
We have to
I'll
vote
make a
on it.
motion that we close the public hearing.
Okay,
Second,
public hearing is now closed, regular meeting is open. Okay, number 12.
If you guys do it to me, I'm gonna keep on trucking.
Hey, wanted to ask you on that before you leave, before you do your trucks and stuff. On that trailer park out there, what was he set for? We know next time he comes in here in Clary.
What's he set for what?
No, what was he sent? He said that he had a deal that can't be any trailers out there. Okay, because that's what the
Some
ordinances say, yeah.
Right.
And then about the, what was the other thing he had out there that he said?
I don't know, he said a lot of stuff.
I know.
We talked about an R1,
Oh, yeah,
A1.
zoning from A1 to a R1. He's been out of shape because
Residential, but still.
some other trailer.
Also, mobile home listing, if you wanted to put one in Louisa County, of all the street lights, the paved, hard paved roads. How many feet apart they gotta be. He just doesn't fit any of the
Well,
criteria.
his argument is there's other trailer parks that are zoned R1 and they're taxed differently, I think is what I heard. And he's A1 and he thinks everybody should be all treated the same, and he was kind of squawking about taxes, which is like $160 a year on a trailer, which. I don't know, he's complaining
And we
about
got
that.
that's about square footage, so.
Yeah, we got that result.
And then Brandon's apartment's picking on.
I think the biggest thing is for us is to make him go out and get the numbers off the trailer.
Yep.
That is his responsibility.
I thought I
He
made it
owns the
clear.
trailer park. That's not the county's responsibility for all our.
Not at all. I thought I made it clear, but well, maybe
I have one other thing for you. I got a report a while back that there is a box container out on the river road.
Mhm.
Somebody placed there and started putting dirt around it.
I
We
think
moved it
that
out once,
was,
it was in the county.
that was located on the right of way. We tagged him, let it to him, and it was relocated off of the right of way. I don't know about setbacks or anything beyond that, but it's no longer on.
Is it still okay for zoning to put that there? And
I don't have any comments on that. I have comments that it is
Yeah.
no longer on the right of way.
As long as it's, the worst part about it is the floodplain.
Yeah.
So he's gotta have it tied down and it can't flow quick.
No.
Right.
And I explained that to him when he put it there.
I don't know much has happened. It's still this kind of sitting there, so.
He said it was to put his equipment in once in a while. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe what he told me is he's got a skid loader in it and he protects it there while he's improving the site. I got the impression like he was gonna bury it, but maybe he's not. Well, he attempted to put it on the right of way and then bury it within the right of way, and we said that wasn't kosher, so he moved it out. Okay. And he's got grand plans, but I don't know. Yeah. A little bit of an update. Grand plans, he told me on the gentleman on 142nd Street that has all the tires. Rumor has it that he told someone he's trying to sell the property.
Gotta get rid of the tires.
I don't know
I
how all that works.
I've contacted the Washington office on it and he was supposed to take care of that.
Months ago,
Yeah,
years ago.
well, it started out that way, but then once it wasn't getting done anything, so then I contacted him again. The guy, I know I still got his email, but he said that he was gonna go there and he's gonna start finding me, is what he was gonna do.
Well, would you follow up on that for me?
Yeah, when I get back to the office, I'll try to find his number and
That'd be great.
get to going.
Thank you.
All righty, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Brian.
Okay,
We ready to adopt the ordinance?
I'll make the motion. Ready?
Yeah,
I'll make the motion to approve ordinance 110.11.4 for the Muscatine Airport.
and I'll second that.
any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Right,
Motion passed. Do we need other hearings? You guys want to do the other hearings or what's your guys' thoughts? Because we have to have.
Yeah, let's do at least one more.
Okay.
I don't like just ramrod and stuff through. I want opportunities for, not that it really affects Wyeth County very much, but I still think at least one more. We can wait for the third if you want, but put it on one more time.
Sounds good. Adam. How are you?
All right, in the construction world, I'm sorry, in the maintenance role, we've been doing a bunch of patching. On pavements, you know, and every year those patches get a little bit bigger as things age, right? You know, that's the way it is with maintenance. So we got that done. Rained a lot in the end of last week, so had some logs and some bridges and went out and got them cleared up here. Been hauling rock, about 85% of our annual haul now, so we're getting closer, hopefully finish up the end of May or so, and we're gonna work on a little bridge deck project there on M Avenue, which is a dirt road, gonna replace some decking on that. Again, working to get our Stein truck quoted out. We've been going back and forth on chassis and crane and things like that, get that thing hopefully buttoned up here in a couple weeks. Working on those kind of things. The guys have been to some classes. Mike's up in Ames for a sidewalk ADA compliance class. Last week I went to a construction meeting down at the trailer down there at Newport. Kind of bad, got some, I don't know, not shocking, but some problem that K Road H22 is gonna be closed from sometime in July to sometime in September, because they've got to go in there and they got to put in some pipes across the road. They've got to widen it out for the future turning lanes and things like that. So there's going to be a detour on our right of way for a couple months. So I'm working with the DOT to get that figured out. Because it's technically our H22 is technically our road. The DOT doesn't have a lot of
involvement in it like they do on 92 or 78 or whatever, so.
So they put crossing lights up, or is that just for equipment crossing? Right?
Yeah, over the next, once it dries out, they're gonna be hauling a lot of fill across there.
Whenever it dries out.
Yeah.
Well, they
Whenever.
did a couple days last week.
Yeah, and they're talking a truck every couple minutes or so, so
Okay.
they're gonna be hauling a lot there, and they've got 2 more years to do the project, so it's gonna be.
What do we need to do to let people that uses that road know about that?
They are supposed by the DOT regulations, they're supposed to give us a 2-week notice, so. We kind of know about it now. I'm gonna start reaching out to some of our
And then
truckers.
our
and-
fire personnel, so they can plan
Yeah.
alternative routes.
So that, yeah,
It's a heavily used road
yeah, it is.
to be shut
It
down.
is, so hopefully they get it done before October and green gets all that. I mean, there's always green hauled, but
Do we
There's
have
a
a
peak.
detour road that they can take to, when they come up at to?
we're working on that. I just found out on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know.
Thursday.
Just questions when you talk to us, that, I wanted to
Yeah. So.
make sure we have emergency vehicles can get there and.
Fire and ambulance, there's gravel road that
Yeah,
intersects, so
but we get it announced what it is, on the highway. And then that'll make everybody's on the same.
unless
page.
that affects that gravel road too, cause that highway's going through there
I
too.
think they will only close one of them at a time.
Okay.
So. Yeah, sounds like it's gonna be a couple more year projects, so hopefully this crossing will just be limited to a portion of it the entire time. So. And then they're talking about paving down there, letting loose further south, so it's gonna be years before that's actual paving open to traffic, so. Whatever that means going forward, it means that, so. There's a DOT meeting on Highway 92, now that they scheduled during our meetings, so I'm gonna Mike or Justin, I go to those just to represent us, so. And hearing some more complaints up there, we got some semis that are deciding they can't do the detour and they're going through gravel, and we're talking about those and doing what we can here, so. Other than that, we have had kind of this is kind of an annual thing, as planting season comes up and sometimes it rains and. You get some questions about, hey, we got water going through our field, we can't plant and all that, and then. Our general stance at this secondary roads, and I talk with our neighbors, that we don't really do a lot of ditching to make water go other directions and all that, we don't, our jurisdiction is within the right of way, and if there's a problem there, we can do what we can, but we're not gonna change drainage paths to make water not go through fields and things like that, and this is a fairly common, I like to joke, hey, it's planting season, what's the county gonna do for me? Thing, and we have to be good stewards of dollars and all that, so we really don't do a lot. Most people that ask are respectful and all that. We occasionally do have some people that I don't know when we get into them, but sometimes our questions aren't respectful, and we try to handle it respectfully and all that.
I can't believe.
Yeah, we do have one that, just a heads up, we have had some questions from people about tiles across roads, and generally when roads are built, upgraded from gravel up to pavement. We follow the DOT standards, and we find the tile on the high side and the low side, and we pipe in. that pipe generally matches the location and elevation, right, of what's there and the size of the pipes that's there. And that's our understanding of what the requirement is, right? We are to accommodate drainage across the road. Like occasionally we do have some people that, hey, they want to improve drainage upstream. They want to add more acres onto the tile. They want to lower it and all that. And occasionally we do get questions about those. And my answer is like, the county has already accommodated you once. We've dropped in a culvert, we've dropped in a tile and all that. And just because you wish to expand that drainage area and deepen the tile, that is not something that the taxpayers, the citizens of Wise County are on the hook for. So I'm a bit aware that there may be some questions about a judgment of mine regarding this, though. If when it comes to you, I want you to know my thinking, and we aim to treat everybody fair, right? Everybody fair, but we also have a budget and have responsibilities and all that. I can't see spending $20,000 for one field when there's a lot of other things that money cannot go for. So just wanted to give a heads up. That's kind of my stance. I think it's consistent with the law and all those kind of things. So
It's different if it failed, you know.
if it's something that we did, right, but it hasn't. It was just not big enough, just not deep enough. And we do give permits, you know, for people to go out and do improvements and all that. And you guys have been here. I mean, this is once a year, once or twice a year, whether it's up in Columbus or out west or wherever it is, it happens. But I like to think our stance is very consistent and very follows the law, I guess, here. So
We're gonna stay consistent. Yeah,
So-
I need.
well, I'm not using any names or anything.
I
This
know,
is
but
just
it's not by me.
this is a general blanket for everybody in the
I haven't heard
everybody.
anything,
So
but I appreciate the heads up in case
Well,
something does.
I've been told that person's gonna go above me, so that's it, you guys.
Stay tough, Adam.
So, and anyway, that's what I know. Any questions about roads or anything?
Can I ask a question about the Rock Quarry Road up by Columbus City?
Sure,
I'm hearing from some truckers that they're concerned about coming down the hill and those trucks cross back and forth very slow. They was suggesting that maybe we had a flashing sign where they come down the hill to alert people about that.
you're asking about the white way there.
Yeah.
Corey.
I just had,
Yeah.
I mean, I did a screamer and Kim and Wayne are kind of concerned about that with all the additional traffic on that.
That's something.
That could be taken a look at.
Definitely something to take a look at, yeah, there, which also reminds me of the Oakville, at the corner, you know, we have a restaurant there, and that corner has always been somewhat, precarious of people falling asleep. If falling asleep to me, it's maybe euphemism for something else. So we are looking at options for a flashing light or something there. Everybody knows up at Let's, there's a flashing sign that says it's speed limit.
With the speed on it.
You know, I've been asked to go out and add in rumble strips and things like that. Again, it doesn't seem to be very cost effective to bring in a manat from Des Moines to come in and mill out 100 feet of road.
You're gonna pave it anyways.
Right, but in the future, it's going to be addressed, but we are looking at some improved signage, I guess, you know, $1,500 or something. I talked to the city of Oakville on that, and see if we can find some sort of a thing that works, so.
Thanks for looking at
As
it.
long as I'm here, I want to make a comment.
Yes,
A couple years ago, I talked to Adam about the condition of our road and how it got that way. And Adam's done an excellent job at refurbishing our road, and I want him to see thanks for that.
sure.
What road is that on?
Yeah,
That'd be 10th Street.
10th Street.
Oh,
Kind
gotcha.
of, it's where they hauled all that rock when they built
Yeah.
the levee.
Yeah, and you know, that's,
But that's a combination of our office giving the guy there the tools to get the job done and he's done a good job and. Kind of setting a rock program that's more less up and down, more like here's your budget of rock, you know, you can use it as you wish. Getting help to that, so.
Yeah, we do have a crown on our road now, thank you.
Yeah, a crown and rock are what really makes roads, so I appreciate that though, thank you.
Anything else, Adam?
I don't know.
Gentlemen? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, it's 9:15. Bobby, I see you're online.
Maybe.
Bobby,
Her name is up there, but I don't see it. Did you get any other bids, Brandon? You said that one.
I didn't, they didn't come to our office.
So we just got one.
Oh, okay,
It's on the hook.
we'll take it.
Yeah. So we'll do that since Bobby's done.
she's having some technical difficulties.
Well, we'll go ahead and do this till she gets on there. Not a problem. Gentlemen, I'll have one of you guys open it.
So we got one bid.
One bid, that's on the boat.
road, Nothing on the car.
What are you just gonna do another, maybe lower your minimum?
Well, we could, at Chicago Motor, just buy the old ones.
Okay.
We'll see if they'll give us a quote. If not, we'll still put that go.
Okay.
You want to take them to the auction?
You could too, yeah. I think both those are leaving.
Okay, we've got a bid here for the Zodiac boat for $5,251 from Sean McClary. They're saying Sean.
Sean.
5251. Yep.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid. It's above the minimum, so.
Yep. And I'll second that motion. Okay, I'd like to thank the people that did put in the bid, one person, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Get rid of one.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Put this in the file, so
Thank you.
We bought something. We bought last time.
I know that name sounds familiar.
You bought it.
You did, you bought a car.
We-
Sure did.
That's good. What happens to that money?
It's gonna be amended back in our budget.
Go back in this year,
But get another vehicle, yeah.
yeah, I didn't know if it went in the general fund or where it went.
Well, let me take that back. It's up to the supervisors. They wanna give us.
Hi, Bobby.
You'll be part of your quarterly.
It's gonna be a raise for the sheriff.
Hold on now. Let's not get crazy.
1,800 your budget to buy it, and they're not.
Oh,
Yeah, that's kind
That's how this works.
Goes in
Yeah,
payroll.
that's the
But,
slush- Supervisor slush fund.
Yeah, probably.
It's lots of fun.
Get us out another winter day.
That was a joke, Jim. Oh, my picture's gonna be in the paper now, here we go.
And his name tag right there.
Spell it correctly.
We take a picture over for you.
Main is
Hey, Bobby, it's out of control. Can you help us?
I don't know about that. It's a little out of control over here too.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Sorry about that. I do not know what that technical difficulty was, but
We're
I'm
flexible.
on.
You got
So-
the floor, so go ahead.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just kind of give you a brief overview of the last couple of months. Right now with the Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa Region, we are currently working on contracts for next fiscal year. So that's a focus right now, just trying to get those completed. And we also had let out a RFP for an additional, it's an IRS IRSH program, which is called Intensive Residential Service Home Services. We have one in Burlington for our region, but we let an RFP to award and open up one more over on the other western half of our region. So we went through that process with Southeast Iowa Regional Planning. They did a wonderful job helping us with that RFP process and scoring, and it worked out really well. So we did end up giving that award out to First Resources, and they are going to be opening another IRSH home on the western half of our region, hopefully, by August 1st or somewhere in the fall. Our target is August 1st, and that will serve patients over on the other side that are requiring that high level of service. So we will continue to work on our contracts in the next couple of months. We want to have those in place by July 1st. We're really looking at keeping things pretty much status quo. There were some changes in our management plan in December when we had that approved as we consolidated. So there may be some small differences in some contracts, mainly probably in the western half of some things that we just weren't able to fund anymore. So those contracts are being reviewed, and hopefully we'll get those finished up in the next couple of months. We reviewed our annual service and budget plan for fiscal year 25 with our governing board and all of our advisory boards. We have a children's and advisory board, and that was passed and that was submitted by the required date to HHS. There will be no budgeting for fiscal year 26. I think most of you probably have heard that there was some legislation that has passed. It was based on House File 2673. And are you guys nodding your heads? Are you aware of that legislation? Okay, so there was some legislation in regards to the realignment that's occurring at the state level. And so there was several proposals, and there has been legislation passed at this time. So that will designate HHS as the state mental health authority. And they will be in control or responsible for implementing a statewide system related to mental health and addiction disorders. So there will be a realignment of the services that are currently, not only what the regions are administering right now, but also some additional addiction services such as substance use, tobacco, and gambling prevention. So with this new legislation, not only will the state be responsible for directing the mental health and disability services, but the regions will no longer exist as of June 30th of 2025. So next June, regions will no longer be in operation. They will be setting districts instead of regions. There are district maps that are going to be revealed, final maps as of August 1st. There have been several maps floating around of what those possibilities may look like. So we will look at finding out what the solid final map is, hopefully very soon. And then the state will let out an RFP, and they're going to look for what they're calling an administrative service organization. So these administrative service organizations will be directed by the state and oversaw by the state. There will no longer be governing boards, no longer be regions, but there will be an advisory board underneath these new ASOs. It's a 10-member board according to the legislation, and it will be an advisory board for them.
Are they from Des Moines? The 10-people board, is that gonna be from Des Moines again?
No, each ASO will have an advisory board for their district.
And how many districts are they looking at? Is it like 8, like a Iowa?
7, I believe.
10?
7, I believe.
Okay.
So when those maps do come out, you know, we will reveal those. Obviously, that'll be a big part of our conversations as the regions are moving forward. We're trying to, you know, maintain the services that we currently have and looking forward at what the system may look like in the future. And having a lot of discussions with our providers and how that may affect them. But after that RFP is let in regards to the ASOs or administrative service organizations, I think we're going to know a lot more about what those organizations are going to be doing. And they will be directed by the state. So there is some, you know, we've been trying to keep up on what's going on and have an idea of what those ASOs may be doing, but the details really aren't out there yet. I think that we just have to wait for that RFP to come out. But that will come out in the fall, and HHS will be awarding that to the ASO by January 1st, is my understanding. So regions will know as of January 1st what that may look like for our area and who would be that ASO and making that transition from regional oversight and contracting to the ASO. So big changes. And they're looking at realigning the behavioral health services with some of the addiction services, and then some of the long-term services will fall underneath the ADRCs or the Adult Disability Resource Centers. So we're just going to keep an eye on how that will work together with the behavioral health system. And at the same time, the state, as of July 1st of this year, they are implementing the CCBHCs in Iowa. And I should have looked that up, but I believe that they awarded 9 of those CCBHCs, I think, in the state of Iowa, which are the community behavioral health centers, and a model that they are looking at implementing in Iowa. So I think at this time, I don't have a lot of information about it. We're kind of waiting for that RFP to come out. And hopefully I'll be able to tell you more here in the future of who may be able to apply to be the ASO. You know, I think some of the regions have full intent of applying and responding to the RFP if they feel that they can fulfill the request of that RFP. I think we're in a good position. We cover 14 counties in Southeast Iowa. So I think we have great partnerships with the providers in this area. And hopefully that may be something that could be awarded, maybe. So we're just kind of looking at that for our future. But as of June 30th of 2025, the regions will no longer exist. And so at that time, we will be looking at, you know, making sure we're transferring all those funds to the state behavioral health fund that they will have. So there will be work that we will do with our auditor systems through this process too, and the region, and looking forward into what that will look like with the new ASOs.
Bobby, what's that mean for your office? Is there, you expect any changes or don't know, or?
Well, I will no longer exist as of June 30th of 2025.
That's what I was wondering. I was reading a writing on the wall. I just seen that. I mean, when you was talking about that, if they're doing it that way, so. That's not good. Did they encompass early childhood in that decision they was talking about, encompassing that in the HHS? Did they do that also?
Yes, all the child services and the adult services for behavioral health will all be aligned together.
Okay.
There was a lot of commentary by the children's system through the process, So I think that was a concern, is how will the children's services move forward? And what will that look like? But that's all inclusive in this realignment. So all the behavioral health services will be realigned together. Children, adults, and then also the addiction services. And the long-term services and Medicaid services will still be, managed through the managed care organizations that are contracted with HHS for those Medicaid services.
Has the governor signed this?
I can't answer that.
Yeah, because I haven't seen that come through, but I wonder, because I just feel that it's not good for our area to have this. It might be good for people in Des Moines that lives in a glass house, but I just don't see us down here benefiting from mental health. It's on the increase, and here they want to cut back. I know that's what they're headed for. But yeah.
I think that the plan, and some of the things I've read, and that there was a summary that was let out, and I think they are utilizing some of the money in the incentive funds to establish a central data repository, and looking at transferring, it says $42 multiplied by the state's population to that behavioral health fund for fiscal year July. It'd be fiscal year 26. So that's where they're looking at setting it, at the $42 per capita. I think there's going to be a lot of things that, in the details that we're just going to have to work through, or the new ASO will have to work through, and the state will. The state has to, I think that at this point, there's been a lot of code. There's going to have to be a lot of code changes in that executive summary. It lists out the codes, which would include like the, like 225C, 227, 142A, 230A. There's a lot of codes that have to be changed in order for this to occur. The state will need to write a state plan for the behavioral health system, for the system to follow for the next fiscal year. So there's going to be a lot of things happening in the next year in preparation of this transfer to this new system.
Not to put you on the spot, Bobby, but how much communication on this redoing this structure have they had with your office on input? Has there been input, a lot of conversations?
Well, I think our governing board members have been actively, speaking with legislators about it during the time in which the bills were proposed. The CEOs meet with HHS periodically, and there have been some conversations.
But not necessarily with people with boots on the ground. That's what I was getting at. So I want to put you on the spot.
Is Jack still on the state board, Stuart?
Yes, and a lot of those boards are gonna, those boards have been or will be eliminated
Oh, really?
in the future. I think that was another bill that was out there. But
Local input in anything, so I agree.
they had some open meetings, and obviously they did give opportunity for providers to speak towards the bill that was out there. But at this time, we're just, we're hoping that the system and the realignment will improve some things. Obviously, we were in favor of the substance addiction services being aligned with the behavioral health services. That's going to be a positive move. So I think we're just looking for change is hard,
Well,
and this is a really big change for Iowa.
what will that do to Rhiannon and Sarah and all the other, you as VSOs before the state took over? What will do to all the others in that region?
Well, we will no longer exist,
That's kind of,
Chris. So,
so there goes all of our local control.
Gone.
you know, if that's potentially, yes, if regions don't exist, then we don't exist.
Right.
So what it will look like with whoever it is that, you know, there's gonna be an RFP let out for these administrative service organizations. And so, you know, the region's intent to apply for that, we'll find out more in January when that award for the ASO designation for our district comes out.
Okay.
Until then, all I can say is that the regions will no longer exist, which means that we don't exist either.
Right.
Wait and see, I guess.
Not a lot of comfort in that.
Yeah. well,
Talk to your representatives, this is not right, so.
There will be an entity that is assigned to, you know, that will obviously be responsible for administering this new behavioral health system. So
Okay.
who that is will be awarded by January 1. And then we will, you know, begin that process of transferring over to the new system and with a realignment.
So,
Okay.
good luck on
Well,
January.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby. It's, not happy with it, but thanks for reporting.
You're welcome. I'll come back in 3 months and maybe we'll have a little bit more information.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, guys, we have, special claims. You guys had a chance to review.
Yeah, mine are,
All the papers are there, so if you have any questions, but basically utility bills, I don't know how they got out of sync, but they did. We have to work.
You wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims for April 30th.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Special claims is about as much as normal claims is 237, 240, 60. Got it? Thank you. You bet.
Concludes our meeting. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I only have one thing
Okay.
before we do that. Have we gotten any further on the sale of the jail? Where are we at?
It was, last I knew it was in Adam Parsons' hands.
Okay.
Cause we had the survey done.
Yeah.
To get the deed.
There's something about a gas meter or electrical meter or
We
something.
have to move that.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody, I've never been called, but I did call them and tell them that we needed to move a meter completely off
Right.
or add another meter. But I haven't heard anything.
Just trying to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
But
and everything that we're doing, it gets kind of lost in the show.
Yep, nope, I wanna get rid of it.
All right.
We had public hearings scheduled once, but then between the attorney and the meter, sort of kink in it.
Well,
So
let's just-
I've made a motion
yeah,
to adjourn.
I'll second.
What's the meter about?
So the meter's on that building, but it feeds this building. So if we sell that beat, we gotta move the meter so that and it's one thing after another. It just seems like there's always a roadblock here that we can't get past, so. We're trying.
One other thing. Our work, touch-up work needed that Dean had done on the roof out at the jail.
The roof part, it was acceptable. He's putting the flashing on around it.
Right.
I talked to Geo. Every day just leads into another day. I think it was Friday. And, they're supposed to be here this week to get that flashing on, so.
Good.
He'll let me know when they're done.
All right,
I'll go back and check it out, but it's moving forward.
all right.
Second on the
Yeah,
motion. to
I'll
adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.